Welcome to episode 147 of Stageworthy. I'm your host, Phil Rickaby. This is the second of the Halifax Fringe Roundups. If you were here last week, I'm here with the same people. We'll start on my left with introductions.
I'm Laura. I'm waving because it's day 8 of the Fringe and it's audio. I'm with Whale Song Theatre and my show is The Birthday here at the Halifax Fringe.
I'm Andrew Gaunce. I'm with Aberrant Theatre and our show's Something Wrong.
And it scared me to death. Thank you for that, Andrew. My name is Mariel Kathryn Hunter. I'm with Fort Hart Productions and my show is called I Want to Come Home.
And of course, I'm Phil Rickaby. I'm with Homebody Productions and Stageworthy Podcast. And my show is The Commandment. So, it is day 10 of an 11-day festival.
Woo!
How's everybody feeling?
Alive?
What day is it? Is it day 10?
I have actually so many times had to look at a calendar just to know, which, not the date, but which day is it?
Yes.
Is today
That's been
a Saturday, a Friday? What is it? I have no concept.
100% telling my week by if I have a show or not.
Yep.
Like, do I have a show today? Okay, it's Thursday.
Andrew, of course, has a different problem because he has shows every day.
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
I have a show.
Andrew, you've had shows every day.
Correct.
And you've had sometimes 2 shows in a day.
Correct.
How are you feeling?
Honestly, it's a mixed bag. I feel great overall. I feel like artistically and for the show, it's been a fantastic experience. Because it is still a work in progress, and this has been such a great way to workshop it. You know, I get people to play with, and I see what works and I see what doesn't, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm also just physically exhausted and just mostly delirious at all times.
Yeah.
So,
For your listeners, Phil, I think it's important to note that Andrew's coffee has doubled in size since last week.
No, it's true. He
Absolutely.
did go for the biggest coffee you can get, so that's saying a lot.
This is my third today.
Well, we know how you're getting through the
It's
rest
also
of this
being
week.
recorded
At
at 11 a.m.
It is 11 a.m. It is 11 a.m.
I was
Fairness to
on
everybody.
that point, I was laughing. I'm like, the fact that there's coffees at all this week. Last week there were no coffees. I had a juice. This week it's like we all have coffee in hand or knitting or whatever. And we're all
I
like,
have a second monster in my bag.
you need to
meditate.
if you're medicating yourself, you have to pace it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, I mean, Andrew, you're obviously, and I mean this, you're obviously a little tireder than you were last week.
True.
Because, I sort of wondered how you were going to do with performances every day and, not a single day off. Yeah. And it's no wonder that you're sort of drinking such a large coffee and not quite sure what day it is, because everything has got to be a blur at this point.
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, I can't make one day from the next.
Yeah.
I can't. Right. I was talking about something that happened in the audience the other day. I'm like, was that yesterday? Was that 4 days ago? I have no idea.
I'm not going to lie. I'm having that anyway. And
Yeah.
I have 6 performances and I'm like, what day was this thing that happened?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be perfectly honest. My show has not been the same once yet because we keep forgetting stuff. Because we're so tired. And my show's only 15 minutes long. I will own this. I dropped an entire page out of an 11-page script last Thursday.
Oh, no.
I was like, and that was the moment and we looked at each other and we went, okay, this is our wall. Thankfully we had yesterday off, Friday off. And after I'm done here, we're going to go, let's just have a rehearsal. An actual, check-in rehearsal. Because we had a couple of days off. Thursday was the audience liked it, but backstage we're like, that was an unmitigated disaster. And that's never happened to me in my Fringe experience before. I was like, oh my God, that's an entire subplot of a 15-minute long show gone.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's interesting to remember during your Fringe how diligent we do have to be about the work.
Yeah.
And I had that experience too where I had an off show, and it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And again, the audience didn't notice because they don't notice
Exactly.
Thank God. But yeah, it was the next day I was like, okay, rehearsal mode. And kicked my stage manager out of our billet and did some work. And it's so important when you're in the midst of these festivals to remember what it is we're doing here.
Yeah. No, I had the same thing. I had a really off show. Sadly for my largest audience. No, they didn't know. They were just really quiet, and that threw me off. And then the next day, I had a show the next day, and it was entirely just like all I could think about was I can't do that again. I can't do that again. I can't do that again.
And then you get stuck in that mode
Exactly.
too.
Yeah.
Well, and we had an interesting conversation about that, you and I, about having an off show and the different reactions to having an off show. And I think that's kind of something we could all touch in on. That's important. Like you were saying for you, you go into that like can't happen again mode. And I was saying for myself, like once I have that show, it kind of like is good for me.
Yes.
Because then I'm like, oh, snap back to reality.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I definitely
Mariel
have...
starts rapping, the caffeine needs to come back.
I mean, I definitely have more of the reaction of like psyching myself out that, oh, this was bad. I think about it a lot, and I start to really work on it, like maybe too much. I start to worry that it will happen again.
Yeah. It's been such a long time since I've acted. It's been about 6 years since I've been on stage, and I was mentioning that last week, that for me it was, as a director and a producer, I'm always like, actors, get your shit together. It's not that hard. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I have to do this just to, walk the walk every once in a while. And so having that show on Thursday and going, okay, I need to back off my actor. And also, it hasn't psyched me out. It's more of it snapped me into work mode, like you said. It's okay, we have a 2-show, it's our only 2-show day today. So we're going to meet and like have a proper rehearsal. We're going to go into it, and then we're going to disperse and not think about it. And like that's the agreement we made as a group is, however today's show goes in the afternoon, that's what happens. And we're going to shake it off, and we'll come back for the evening show, and like not to put too much emphasis on it, which is a healthy thing to do, I guess. But it definitely, you kick yourself when you
Absolutely.
you kick yourself. Even though the audience has no idea.
Oh, the audience that left my bad show, they left smiling. The people told me like they enjoyed the show. It just felt different.
And like you can never know, right? Like my worst show was also in front of my largest audience, and it was the show I got the best feedback on.
Right?
Like I had a woman come up to me in tears after the show and just be like, that was and I so enjoyed, and when and I was just like, we need to take a breath. Like, this is a lot, thank you so much, but whoo. Like, and when it's silent, that's another thing, is you and I both have like comedic shows, and when it's silent, it is kind of like all right, do you hate me?
We had that too.
Or are you just quiet?
There were moments I was like, nobody ever doesn't laugh at this.
Yes.
Like, nobody ever doesn't laugh
yes.
at this. And you guys are, like, you start to wonder, like, is it me? I actually went up to the house tech afterwards. I was like, be honest with me. Was I garbage or were they just off? And she was like, they were cold.
Wow.
We had that on our last show, Tuesday night. And it was the show that we ended up getting a 5-star review from Amanda Campbell. Thanks, Amanda! But, like, we had a full house and not a freaking peep. And there's, like, our show gets a little dark at the end, but there is funny at the beginning. And the thing that that always gets us to laugh at the very start didn't get a titter. Not even a chuckle. And it threw us both off. We were like, okay. But we did it, and then afterwards, everyone stayed. Like, we couldn't hear them in the audience, and, like, we're pretty much on top of them. We couldn't hear them. But afterwards, everyone's like, that was awesome. We loved it. We're like, you have the weirdest way of showing it.
And that would be interesting, too, Andrew, because your show is terrifying. So do you have the opposite experience where everyone's, like, really quiet?
Yeah, for the most part. It's fun because there's certain moments in it, and one story in particular that pretty much every day we get an audible reaction.
Yeah.
That,
Go see the show.
Yeah. So they're showing it. Yeah.
I'm still having nightmares about that moment that you're talking. No, it is not.
but it is. That's
Well
what
done.
we're going for. But yeah, no, at the reveal of that one particular story, pretty much every day there's like a kind of like you can feel people start to cringe into their seats a bit, so that's what I check in on. And then, like, as much I don't consider it a comedy show, but you gotta have some laughs. Like, there are a few little gags in mine. It's a good way to check in to make sure that they are still with you.
Absolutely. I just have to wonder, like, how much because I know how much I can see the audience in my venue. Can you see anybody?
Nothing. Nope.
Okay.
Not a thing. I can see the legs of the front row.
Well, then let me tell you that at that moment, our entire row in complete unison, listeners, you can't see this, but our hands literally went up over our mouths.
We all three of us like covered our mouths. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. And the two other people I was with brought their hands down eventually, and I think mine remained there for the rest of the show.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Phil actually said, what was it you said about me after we saw Andrew's show?
Something about like how viscerally you watch, like you're like moving, like everything is like your whole body's like.
I can take no responsibility for that. That's all Andrew's.
Oh, of course it is.
Entirely.
One thing I gotta say is one of the things that I'm a little bit envious of, Andrew and Mariel, is you guys are not from here, and you traveled with somebody. You have somebody who traveled with you, who's like your stage manager, producer, that sort of thing. Which means that, in a way, you've got somebody to lean on if things don't go well. Or somebody who can keep you on track and like say, no, you have to rehearse, or no, you're done. Yeah. Stop for a little bit just to get your head in the game.
It's been invaluable.
Do you think you could have done it without somebody with you? Like, can you imagine what the experience would have been without?
Personally, it wouldn't have been as strong. I feel like Jordy and I make a really great team on this kind of thing. Like, I think the show would have been fine because there's not much tech, there's not much for the stage manager to really do in my show. Jordy just kind of sits there and watches. But from a production perspective, from a marketing perspective, 95% of that work has been on Jordy, and they've killed it. So that's not necessarily my skill set, and I'm learning, and mostly from being around them. But no, it wouldn't have been nearly as successful. And just on a personal level, it's so good to have just like a piece of home to check in with, you know? And especially someone that's been there every stage of development on this show, that they know where it was, they know what the original concept was. They can be like, you're kind of losing focus on this. Like, maybe you should check back in on this particular idea that you had and things like that. So no, I think it would have kind of stumbled through if I was here alone, but it wouldn't have worked nearly as well in any sense, personally.
Mariel?
I did my show without a stage manager last year. And the tech is simple enough to operate if like someone from the Fringe lovingly steps up to do that. That's great. It's a little more complex this year, and we've added things into the show because Adriana is here. Adriana has been such an asset to me and to the show. She is a formidable artist in her own right. She'll never tell you that herself. She just came she literally had a 24-hour, I think, turnaround. She went and she was in a show called Circle Game, which is brilliant. Like, if you ever get a chance to see this show. You will never be more inspired in your life. It's a reimagining of Joni Mitchell's music. Oh, it's phenomenal. The things they do in this show. I'm pitching a show that.
I want to hear that pitch later. We'll chat.
Yeah, but it is truly an incredible show, the things they do. And Adriana's right at the heart of it. And again, formidable. She flew back she was in Saskatchewan for that run for, I think, 2.5 weeks. And then she was back in Vancouver for an overnight, repacked her bags, and flew out here to help me with my show. Like, she's a dear, dear friend of mine. But on top of that, she just professionally, like, the ability to see things in the show, and to very lovingly, like, guide some moments, like, oh, maybe this isn't working, or man, that really works, you should hold on to that. Like, she's been such an asset in that way. And then also I have to say yourself, Phil, like, we've become pretty good Fringe friends. Blah, blah. Vocal warm-up's gonna be a thing today. But yeah, and like, you have been such an asset to me too, and having like another artist to bounce things off of who's going through the same experience. I think that's really one of the things I love most about festivals like this, is making Fringe friends and collaborating down the road. And like, it's been so great to have you here and know, like, I have another artist who's in my corner, and like, your input on my show has been great, and your feedback, like, it's been tremendous. So I think I would have made it without Adriana, yes, but it's been such a wonderful experience to be able to share that with her, and to meet people like your lovely selves.
I, as somebody traveling without somebody, and I mean, I know a lot of Fringe artists who do this. Jillian English, for example, she travels the world by herself and things like that. And talking with people like Al LaFrance. I think Al was here last year with.
Yeah, we love Al. He's been here a couple
I think
times,
I'm Dead.
actually.
And after the year before that was with The Quitter.
Yes, he did a double feature and something else.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, he did 2 shows the year before, and he's a master.
Yeah.
Like,
and he, and he does it. And there's all kinds of people who travel and they just do Fringes all summer long. Yeah. And occasionally I'll see the post from them, which is like, okay, this is shit. I'm having like this hard thing, and everybody hits that point. Yeah. I had a point in the Fringe where I was like, I went home and I was like, okay, I think I need to have a little cry tonight, because some things hadn't happened right. And I think what it was for me is I'd pitched a bunch of people who were going into a show and given them all my flyers, and they all went into the show and they had all just left my flyer on the table, and it was like, oh shit. Yeah. And it was just rough to see that. I was like, okay, I'm going home.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I feel that.
And that's the thing I don't get, being a hometown artist. Yeah. Like I have no idea what it's like to travel and do a show. Period. Yeah. Like my company is named Whale Song because my team literally travels in a pod. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's excellent.
I have such a team at all times that you listen to you guys like, we did it by ourselves. I'm like, what? Like, even with just the 3 that I'm working with, I have everybody else here that's part of my network. Yeah. So if we're like, oh, something else not working, I can reach out to one of my directors and say, hey, can you come take a look at this? And so it's such a different, like, I'm sitting here going, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to tour it. I have so much respect for like the artists who are like, this is what we're doing this summer, and we're just going to go out and we're just going to do it. Like, I think it's so cool, and it's something that I want to do eventually, and like experience other Fringes, and so. And it's important as you're almost cultural ambassadors, because you're coming here and saying, hey, this is what the rest of the country's doing. Yeah. Like, just so you know, like, you know.
I will say that's been difficult about this Fringe Festival in particular, is there's a lot of hometown companies and shows going on. Yeah. And it's been really, I know for myself, I won't speak for anyone else, I know it's been difficult for me coming from so far away, and then being kind of at a venue that's outside of the core. Getting people to that venue has been really tough. Yes. And also it feels lonely. Like there haven't been many Fringe events, and not many Fringe events that are like super accessible to people. A lot of Fringes have like Fringe bars where everyone kind of congregates. And I think this festival would really benefit from something like that. I don't want to be critical of a festival that's welcomed me, but I think there's so much potential here.
I would actually say that one of the things that would really benefit is to be able to have a place where artists from away and artists from here congregate and get to know each other. Because I still feel like at this Fringe in particular that I don't really know any of the people from here, because it hasn't really been a place where we can go and hang out.
I know that it's been a conversation we've been having here for years, and I don't want to speak for the Fringe, but it's, we're 28 years old, but in a lot of ways we're only about 5 years old, because there was a complete change of, like, a complete overhaul of how everything was done, and a changeover back in 2012, I think. So because before it was the Atlantic Fringe Festival, and I ran it for 2 summers as a summer student. It was a summer position job, like the government paid for, and it was a different beast altogether. And so I know that Leanne and April and all the folks who've come before them are definitely like, they hear this feedback, and so it's always good to share it, because I agree. I'm like, if I wasn't doing this, I would not know you guys. I wouldn't talk to you.
Exactly.
I'd be like, what's up? I kind of recognize you. I saw your show. And it's not because we're standoffish or we don't want to welcome people. It's such a hometown crowd.
Sure.
I did notice, and I think maybe it's because of the language. We know how to play the game in the application process, because everyone gets accepted. A lot of the hometown stuff is here in the bus stop. Yeah. And it's because they knew exactly how to write their application to get this space. And not saying that we're trying to push people. It's not, there's nothing malevolent there. It's just, we fill out our forms, we know what to ask for, and to get this space.
To be honest with you, like, in every Fringe festival I've ever been, when they start talking, like, usually, like, the venue isn't decided by the application. They send you your tech writer and you fill out that stuff. I have totally filled that out, being like, okay, so if we say this, I can get this venue.
Yeah.
Just so if we say that we need projections, then we need this sort of thing, and then we can just be like later on, if we don't use the projections, we can go, oh wait, things changed.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
And like last year, the venues that we were all up at, like up in the North End, they were the hot spots. Like this was not like this was a hub, but up in the North End there was way more shows at the waiting room and at the pool hall and a campfire. So it was a whole separate thing. Like Good Robot was essentially the bus stop. Like we were all up there, so it was a different because we're in the same boat. Like I'm like, where? Hello, where is everybody?
You're over at the waiting room.
Yeah, we're in the waiting room. And we're like, I asked for venue that I thought the people would fill. What the hell?
No, I know. I know.
And it's just been a weird Fringe too. Like I just feel like the audiences are kind of there. Like maybe it's because we're up in the North End, we just don't see them.
I was wondering that too.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's been really tough.
Yeah. And I think that's been at the heart of like why I've had a couple of bad nights. Or just like things like that. My show's not easy to do.
No,
it takes a lot out of me, and so sometimes if there's like a really small audience, and we were actually talking yesterday how about a small audience, you work harder because you're just trying to keep them.
Yeah, it's tough. I had an audience of 4, and it was 2 Fringe artists and the 2 people working the door. And that was really tough. And my show, like it says in the reviews I've gotten, like this show needs an audience, and with the audience it deserves, I suspect it would be great. And you know what? It's a great show. I stand by my show.
Absolutely.
But it really it kills me to pop out and see that there's like 5 or 6 people there, and then know that the next hour I am just going to have to give everything I've got, which of course you do, but this is what we were saying last night, Phil, is like it's a reciprocal thing when there's an audience, they can give back to you.
That's why it doesn't feel like
it's just
because when there's a large audience, it doesn't feel like as much work because they give back.
Exactly. It's like if everybody gives a clap, then we have a full round of applause.
Yes, there we go.
Yes.
Please clap if you believe in artists. Thank you.
We're like Tinkerbell will die.
We are Tinkerbell. We need it. So one of the things that it's last week when we met, we hardly had a chance to see anything. So now that we've had some chances to see things, what have you seen that you've really loved?
Agatha Apple.
Fuck, I didn't get to see that.
Oh
my god!
Is it done? Is it?
I think they have 2 more shows.
Okay,
excellent.
Okay, good.
It's from the folks who did Feeble-Minded Dictator here last year, and it's like Commedia dell'arte meets circus meets acid trips meets Dr. Parnassus's Imaginarium, and it's their work in Feeble-Minded Dictator, and then this show. I'm just like, this is the kind of art that I want to see. And I don't even call it theater. To me, it's art. And you're just like, I'm like, what I do doesn't even apply to this style, and I don't care. I just want to steal like little elements and go, yes, I learned how to do that from watching that show. Blew my mind. Also, I really liked Negroes Are Congregating. They had to leave early, so their 2 shows this weekend got canceled. Oh, no. But it was so uncomfortable in the best way. I was like, hi, I am a very middle-class white woman, and you are saying some things that make me uncomfortable, and that's the point.
Yes. I had the same thing watching that show, because I'm actually not their audience. I am I'm a white male, and so a lot of things that they're saying, and I'm fully aware that white privilege makes me go, no, not me. But you have to listen.
Yes.
And it was actually a really great forum for being forced to listen.
Yes.
And yes, it was uncomfortable, but it was really important.
I'm sad to hear that their 2 shows this weekend got canceled. I was kind of hoping to catch it.
Same,
but Agatha Apple, since you plugged them, is at the waiting room tomorrow at 3:30 and at 7, right after Andrew's show at 2 o'clock.
There we go.
I've seen some great shows.
I could rave about everything I've seen, but let's share the...
So actually 2 of my favorite shows are in this room. Andrew's Something Wrong. I am still having nightmares. It's not okay. Go see this show so I don't suffer alone. Seriously though, it was really great. And there's, I won't give anything away, but there's this movement piece that you've incorporated that I loved. I loved. It haunts me. You became a different person. Like performance-wise, I am a fan. That was beautiful work. I was just like, yes, no, yes, okay, cool. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think
you could possibly get.
Yeah.
5 screams.
It's definitely 5 screams, yeah.
I think I hit Phil 6 times.
At least.
It's a 5 scream 6 hit show, folks.
Yes.
Go see it.
It is, as you say, a hit.
I like that we all did that together. And also Phil's show. I've seen Phil's show a whole bunch of times now, and I always love it. It's a really, like, I love the premise of the show, which isn't giving anything away. An atheist is spoken to by God and told that he is to deliver the last commandment. It's so funny, an idea. Like, I don't know how you came up with it, but it's brilliant and I love it. And then the heart that is in that piece as well is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. So I'm such a fan of you guys. What else have I seen this week? I've seen so much. I think those are my 2, like, top shelf shows.
Can we talk about She-Wolf for a second?
Oh my God, She-Wolf.
Amazing
I'm so
show.
sad you're not here, Jillian. Oh my goodness, I'm so sad. I was going to fangirl all over you.
I'm excited that we get a sneak peek at her new show that's coming out. She's taking to Melbourne.
Yeah,
because,
that's super cool.
Yeah, because unfortunately the Negroes are congregating had to cancel. She gets to preview 10 Things I Hate About 10 Things About You.
Oh,
or Taming the Shrew or whatever.
10 Things I Hate About Taming the Shrew.
Right, I saw it this morning
cool.
and just... Because I am a child of the late 90s. I'm like, what's up? 10 Things I Hate About You!
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, her show was, like, to see somebody with the kind of command of an audience that she has and an ease with an audience is pretty incredible.
She's a masterclass in having a one-woman show. Or a one-person show.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you watch those and go, that's how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Great,
Exactly.
cool.
That's what works. Yeah.
She's really great, and like her command of the room was also great. The performance we saw, someone I think thought they were part of the show.
Oh no!
Fringe.
Yeah, and it was very sweet. Like it was very sweet, and Jillian handled it just masterfully. I was just like, I will take that.
Yes,
And that will go in my
I was like, that's how you handle
and
it.
that is where that will stay.
Yeah.
It was. We sat in it was in this venue, and we sat in the very back, and Phil, Adriana, and I erupted to our feet.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I don't even know if the show was over. I don't care.
It was.
Yeah.
Fortunately, yeah.
It was amazing.
It was,
yeah. Go see it. Go see it. Go see it.
Yeah, and go see. I mean, she's got also her comedy album recording is still coming up.
Yeah.
I think there's that. I think that's today,
Yes,
Saturday.
so, yeah.
Tonight.
And there's also that preview of 10 Things I Hate About Taming of the Shrew. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of things one could hate about Taming of the Shrew. I'm curious to see what she hates about it. Other shows, obviously, I mean, your show terrified me, Andrew.
Thank you.
I love the spooky theme of this Fringe.
Yeah.
We touched on it last week, but it's such every show is about death, dying, or the afterlife, and I'm so into it. I'm like, my little goth heart is like full.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a horror guy. I mean, I know all the references, and also some of the movies just don't hold up. Like if I watched, I'm gonna admit something. I didn't watch Halloween when I was younger. I only really watched it for the first time about 2 years ago.
You could watch it now because it's funny. It doesn't hold up at all.
Doesn't hold up.
Yeah, it's
Like
funny.
it's not scary in any way, shape, or form.
All of the tropes that it invented have been used so many times since, and so that you see everything coming.
Right.
That's
So
what's
it's not
nice
even
about
scary.
classic horror. You're like,
It's a museum piece.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And you hold. I took film in university and I studied horror. So it's
cool.
it's like I'm seeing your show today.
Cool.
Oh my god.
And I'm so excited because I've been waiting. I was like, I'm going to wait because if it gives me nightmares, I don't want to do it the day before a show.
It was literally
Right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, the things that happened in that show just
Heebie-jeebies.
I'm just like, I still am having heebie-jeebies about certain things.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
No pressure now.
I'm not giving anything away because I feel like this show in particular, you can't give anything away. Like, you need the surprise. Yeah. Your show, Mariel, there's a moment in your show that and I've seen it like twice now, and every time we get to this moment, I'm like, please. And it's just like one sentence, and I'm like,
come see it, I will make you cry.
Yeah. But it's like the way that you handle your audience members in that is really quite lovely.
Thank you so much. That's so much fun for me.
Yeah.
Like I love that. It's really just, and it's been really fun to play with people at the Halifax Fringe.
Our audiences don't always come out, but when they do, they're usually okay with audience participation.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Which is funny because I've been to show at the Toronto Fringe. They will sometimes have like in the program will say like warning audience participation. Yeah. You know.
I warned no one.
This audience participation is a surprise.
I'm in the show now.
That's just like the risk of Fringe. Oh
no!
Do I get a cut of the door too?
You do not.
I also saw Wild Bill's Facebook.
Oh my gosh!
Feeding time, live feed, YouTube.
Yeehaw, whatever.
Yeah. Which, to be honest with you, is one of the strangest shows I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Love it.
That show is weird.
It's super weird. I think it's probably my favorite of the festival, personally, that I've seen. Not to knock anything else. I've seen so much brilliant stuff. But, like, it's just so uniquely uncomfortable and such a character piece of a character that you will never see anywhere else. He's just such a utterly unique human, and just to watch him go about his life in this weird, like, microcosm of society is so weird and so crazy.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it also was that it's so prevalent these days to see such a weird character. Like I think it's clear from the title that it's based on an online type of fragment of society. And so it's like you stumble upon these types of things online all the time, and then to see the show behind that show. Not that I like meta theater at all. Right?
We all have our vices,
right? But it was great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I found this. I've been finding this Fringe really strong, like content wise. Even the stuff, like even the shows that aren't great are still really good. Like I haven't seen any shows, and I haven't heard anyone going, "Sweet Jesus, avoid it." Because there's always at least one where we all smile and go, "Good job, guys," but everyone's like, "Don't." And this year I haven't heard that. I haven't heard like even the stuff that like we have a lot of. I haven't had a chance to see it. I'm talking out of my ass about this, but a lot of like the theater school kids are in this year's Fringe for the second weekend, and I've had people go and they're like, you know what? Even for like the youngsters, it's really polished. Like there's stuff that needs to be worked on, and like basic elements that they need to learn, but the bones are there.
Cool.
And you're just like, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that the kids are getting out there and experimenting. But you know, like remembering back to being 19, 20, going, I'm gonna do the Fringe this year. This script's gonna be awesome. And your parents come and they pay the $5 and go, I loved it because I love you.
Yeah. What else have I seen that I really liked? Almost Highly Famous.
Yes.
Was really interesting. That man can do things with soccer balls that nobody should be able to do. And Sex, Love, and Jazz Hands.
Yeah.
Was quite lovely.
Yeah. I really liked Easy Rock, something.
Easy Love.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. It was that kind of dark, smoky kind of show that I like. I was like, this is gonna go dark places, and I want it. Give it to me.
Give me the dark.
And on the flip side, I love Herbie Dragons. It's the Harry Potter kind of...
I haven't had a chance to see
that. Oh
my
God, it's hysterical. Kevin Hartford and Dan Bray wrote it. They're two local guys. And last year they wrote kind of a spoof of Sherlock Holmes and Baker Street. And so this year, Herbie Dragons is their kind of continuation of, we're going to take that thing you love and just twist it a little bit. And it's the two lead actresses, Kayla Gunn and Melissa McGugan, are just so good together. Like, they've never done a show together. They kind of knew each other locally. And their chemistry, I'm like, oh, that's what chemistry is. Oh, cool. Great. And plus it's just hysterical and nerdy as all get out. And if you like Harry Potter, it's built in. And if you don't like Harry Potter, it's still fantastic. You're like, I don't get the references, but I really enjoy the show.
That's almost a little bit like the show Potted Potter that has been touring around for, I think, like 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Something like that. It's like been handed off from the guys who did it originally in Edinburgh, to another pair of guys, to another pair of guys, and it just keeps like being handed down.
It's like the Dread Pirate Roberts of shows.
But the original guys are still getting, it's like the Blue Man Group. They're still getting their residuals, right? What else? Like, there's a certain point at which, like, I know I've seen more.
Yeah.
But my mind just does not allow me to
articulate.
So it's day 10.
Yeah. It's day 10.
I just want to shout out Evil for a second.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's such a fun show.
It's like half hour, 40 minutes or so, and I didn't stop laughing. I laughed till it hurt. It is just such a hilarious concept, and that cast just
committed
so hard to it. Oh my God, they're children, like they're grown adults playing what a 9-year-old thought teenagers were, and it's perfect.
It makes me funny. I 100% left going, I know my mom's got a box of my shitty writing somewhere from when I was a kid. I gotta go find it.
And the unfortunate thing is that its run is done.
Yeah.
Right. They only had 4 performances.
Well, and they added a 4th one because the first 3 sold out.
Sold out like that.
And
well deserved.
It's a shame because they were in Plan B, which is like the smallest venue. Because I don't think they thought they were going to have an audience.
They probably could have fit into one of the larger venues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Especially if they were selling out at the 30-seat level. Because I know I wanted to see it. And they were like, you might be able to sit on the floor. I'm like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah. It's like, I'm too old for a cushion. Give me a seat or nothing.
Can't do it.
Yeah, no, I would have liked to see that show up at the pool hall. I think it would have made sense in that space.
It would have, actually.
So, does everybody still have shows left?
Yeah.
3.
You have 3? So is this your 2-show day today?
2-show day. Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
And then you have one on Sunday?
Yes. We have an 11:45 a.m. on Sunday. First show of the day in the waiting room. It's 15 minutes long, and then I am leaving for vacation. My parents are literally like, we'll be in the parking lot at 12:15. I'm like, okay.
That's great. Yeah. I've still got 2 left. I've got one directly after this at 12:30 today, so less than an hour. And then our second one to close is tomorrow at 2 at the waiting room.
Awesome.
I've got 2 left too. I'm at 1:30 at the old pool hall today, and 3:30 tomorrow, which is not on the official schedule. So please send your friends.
Make sure to show that out.
Absolutely, it is in the program.
Yeah, it's just
on the listing, and it's on the website, so you can buy tickets for it. It's just not on the grid.
Okay.
Yeah,
so make sure that you tell your friends that the last show is 3:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's worth seeing. It's a good show.
It is good.
It's a great way to finish out your Fringe experience. It's a lovely show to be like, all right, it's a Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Cry a little. We're all gonna drink after. It'll be great.
It's perfect for a mimosa. Be like, great. I had my brunch. I'm gonna watch this show. There's great brunch places right. You could do that. Here, I'm pitching it for you.
Okay.
Go to brunch at like East Coast or like any of the place up there on Roby. Go see the show. It'll be great. It's not on the schedule. Buy your tickets. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands. It's audio.
Because you talk with your hands. I have one more show today. At 3 o'clock.
I'm going.
It's the commandment. Please come out if you're listening to this. Last chance to see it. I don't know when I'll do it again.
I've seen it a whole handful of times. It's great every time. Come see his show. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. We'll be there. Adriana and I are hanging out.
Awesome.
See, it's perfect. We're all up in the North End, so come see all of our shows.
Absolutely.
Today. You can literally actually see all of our shows today. We all have performances.
There's a plan.
There you go. Spend some time in the North End, up around the pool hall and the waiting room. See a bunch of shows.
And if you don't, we're going to cry and shun you. It's fine.
I'm not
at least cry.
Cry. I'm not going to shun you. I need your attention.
I'm an artist. Pay attention.
I know, exactly. I'll just cry.
All right. Thanks a lot, you guys. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for making this Fringe awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
This has been a Homebody Productions production.